Good morning. Welcome to Chicago Crossing Model Railroad at the Bench. It's me, Eric, here with you. And today is going to be, well, one of a couple big days, I suppose. Time to get rid of a tunnel. And we're going to start here at the back of the layout. To me, that seems like kind of the most rational way to go about it, since I'm not entirely sure how these, how this will go. If I'm going to ruin something, it's always easier at the back of the layout. But hey, it's just a hobby, no fear. We're going to take this thing off and go from there. All right, how are we going to do that? Well, we are going to do that using an oscillating multi-tool. This side of the layout, the tunnel is basically built largely of like plaster and chicken wire and stuff like that. It's got chipboard to integrate with the fascia in the back here. So we're going to try to take all that stuff off. And the other challenge here is being pretty darn careful of all of this nicely laid track that's all around here. I don't necessarily want to go chipping away at that as well. So it's going to be a careful process, trial and error. We'll see what happens. But, burn the ships at the shore, man. You got to go do it. So let's go ahead and get it done. Whole bunch right there. And as you can see, yeah, it's old school chicken wire, a little bit of foam, plaster, things like that. So all of it's just stapled to here. So it's easy enough just to pull up. And then of course we can come back and get this chipboard on the other side. Actually, coming apart pretty nicely here. Basically just remove the remainder of this plaster cloth. There's a few different options as to what I will end up deciding to put down in place of this tunnel. Oh yeah. That came out real nice. Be a hefty bit of vacuuming that's going to happen here. So I did, a good job of getting this chipboard even. And this chipboard over on this side is still intact. I don't know that I'm going to put in a pass-through structure or something like that on this particular side. The couple options include sort of a rendition of the Indiana Skyway or I-55, one of the two, I suppose. And then the other option is basically a set of large industrial buildings over here to kind of balance out the industrial plant that's over on the other side of the layout. So we'll see which one of those options kind of best fits the bill. What's going to happen next is a series of, cardboard mock-ups in order to determine spacing, composition for all of those different options. Because before you go out and decide to, build a particular thing or spend the time and money, it's best to figure out, does it look good? Does it seem contrived? Or does it seem like it belongs there? Because what you don't want is something that looks contrived. Tunnels are contrived enough. The idea always is to replace with something that is better than what you originally had there. So over here, there's a little catch hole. If I ever needed to pick out a derailed train from here, of course, one can do that. So it actually is kind of interesting because it offers a potential scenic opportunity here to just put in something akin to like a slough or a pond. There's a ton of those in the southern part of Chicago. As industrial as that area is, there's actually a surprising amount of wetlands and wildlands and just, fallow territory that nothing is really done with. And so it just grows these trees and has these ponds and all that other sort of stuff. Something that you notice is just how much space gets recovered from that tunnel that can be used for a lot of different things. Blank space on a layout can be an engine for creativity. And as much as I was sitting around kind of planning out what the potential options are for actually going in the place of this tunnel, sometimes it's not until you really see what it is that you're working with for real that you can start to actually have the creative act of modeling and thinking about prototype occur, because now you know what sort of space you have. Well, as you can see, the tunnels are off the layout. And so now comes the much more interesting part, which is designing and executing their replacements. Here, this will be a pass-through structure. It will be more like an above-ground pass-through. It certainly won't be a tunnel in the traditional rock boring sense. There's actually quite a few precedents for structures that trains move into that take them underneath street level and stuff like that in Chicago. So for here, the same footprint that you see will basically be occupied by, half-inch plywood to make the overall structure. And then above that, we'll have some additional city streets and possibly even run something like a retaining wall a little bit out to suggest that maybe there's a bit of a grade difference there. Again, stuff you can actually find in the city. So in the meantime, a little bit more cleaning up to do. And yeah, now the fun begins. All right. Have a good rest of the day. Have a good rest of the week. Talk to you soon. Bye.